as you can see there, just hammering it on the bricks there, that way, to get it flat. And now by hand, I'm just going to pull it back again, bend it back on this here. I want to use this in the pot. I'm going to screw it in there. I'm going to put a hole in here and here on the diagonal to use that as one bracket, and I'm going to use that as another bracket that way. So breaking through here. Right, so I don't know if I can get this to break on cue or not, but I've got a pair of slip joints here, and some vice grips, and I'm just wanting to stress that point between the two. And if I can get it to weaken, this is just mucky cheap steel. You can't do this with a piece of plate steel, but just moving it backwards and forwards like that. And here it goes. Boom. See that? It's just stress, because metal doesn't like bending, it fatigues and breaks. And now we've got a bracket and a bracket, and that bit of scrap that would have been thrown in the bin is now going to do the job for us. Just a couple of holes in here on the diagonal, and that'll hold the top and bottom on that end. There we go, drilled a couple of holes on the diagonal, and now we can put that on the inside of the pot and hold the two pieces together. A second to point out the difference in the drills I'm using too. This one here with that little point on it, whenever you get a drill with a point like that, and often a black color or maybe a gold color, that'll be a wood drill for drilling wood. This one here, it's got that tapered edge. It doesn't have the point like that does. And they're silver. That's a high-speed steel drint. It'll say high HSS, like high-speed steel. And that's what I use to drill the brackets. If you try and drill the brackets with that, you will destroy it. The point will disappear, the drill will overheat, and you won't be able to use it for anything anymore. Steel bits you can use for wood or steel. Wood bits though, just use for wood. Okay, so it's time to tie all this together now. Now, it's important that you hold the pot down where you want it. If you have any buckling or walking, see we've got a little bit of buckling here. That's because I pulled all these up to square when I screwed it. But we can actually hold that down. If it's really bad, you might want to put one tab here and one tab here to hold it all square. So get your square one, the one that's going to sit best first. Screw this in place, and then when we put this one in, we'll just put some weight on the top, or clamp it if you've got it, to clamp that down, and then screw it in place, and then it'll hold it nice and square for you. Okay, so we've pre-drilled the holes. Now it's just a matter of we've selected some screws. You probably have to, well, whether you're buying screws or getting screws from your leftover kit, select the screws. We'll screw these in. The big criteria on these is that it doesn't go right through the timber, so make sure that it's not going to go through the thickness. Okay, so at this point, you got yourself a fine looking pot. We've got these two. Now this is obviously going to be full of soil and have plastic over it, so none of that's going to be seen or affected. If you've used bare steel or rusty steel or something, you can whack a bit of paint on it at this point as well. We've pre-sanded all of this so we can just stain it once we've got it together. This is ready now for a bottom, and then the plastic lining, and then she'll be ready for plants and soil. So we've put the base in. We've actually used a bit of scrap. It was a bit short, and then got a couple of pieces. But then all we're doing for the base is putting some screws along the side. As you can see here, we space them out so that when you're looking at the finished pot, you can't tell. It's all nice and symmetrical and spaced out, but in actual fact, it's coming to the center here. And then we just slipped in an extra screw in this end to keep it all square. Lining it with plastic, and just got some thick stuff. This last little bits of a Ziploc. Just a lot of recycling going on here. You can get some thicker plastic if you want it, but this is in here for two reasons. It's stopping when the soil's wet. You don't want your wood to be wet all the time, so it'll allow the soil to stay wet and the wood to dry. But it's also, the way we put that bottom piece in, created that inch or that 2.5 centimeter little bit at the bottom, so the water will tend to sit in, which for pot plants sitting out is so much better. So that's just in little nails like that, tacks, whatever you've got around, and just holding that in with tacks, and done. This is ready to be stained and then ready to be filled and potted up. So there we go, and that looks fantastic. You can do it. That is not at all hard. You know, if you really want, you can add more brackets through the middle here to strengthen it, but these are just sitting here. They are underneath, if you can see here, so they're not going to get every rainstorm. So I think they'll be absolutely fine. But these look wonderful, way better than the metal pots. They're bigger than the metal pots. We just put some plants back into them now. And yeah, look, you can do that. You can make it happen. great project, particularly if you're in ISO at the moment with COVID. Hopefully by the time you watch this film, COVID will be a thing of the past and all gone, but something like that's a really good project to pretty up your outlook. It looks great from the outside, it looks great from the inside, and yeah, if you've got an angle, like on these bricks on a windowsill are normally on a bit of an angle, we've actually just snapped that up on a couple of stones. You look under there, and that is holding it all up nice and level. So there you go, something you can definitely have a go at yourself, and yeah, feel good about yourself because you've done something beautiful. And of course, don't forget the links in the description for all the different tools and screws and so forth, so you can make this happen. Particularly the Ryobi, if you buy yourself a little kit like with a drill for drilling the holes and screwing the screws and a saw, then that's the sort of stuff you'll be able to make this sort of thing happen.